Today we're going to be doing a quick hip opener class. It's really good for people who happen to sit in a chair all day and either have tight hips or shortened hip flexors. All you'll need is 2 blocks. Now let's get started. So getting started on the ground, you'll want to grab your 2 blocks. If you don't have any blocks, check out my link below. So before we lay back, try and put your feet together and stick your blocks where you can reach them. Lay on back and try to find a nice comfortable position. If this is too hard on your hips at first, just stick your blocks underneath your legs to try to give them a little bit of support in this first hip opening exercise. Now we're gonna lay here for just a few seconds, do our 5 centering breaths. Feel free to either have your hands down at your side, or maybe you place your right hand on your stomach, maybe your left hand on your heart. Try to center yourself for today's practice. Take a deep breath in, and exhale through the mouth. This next one, try to elongate your inhale and a little longer exhale. Imagine you're drawing up that breath all the way through the toes and up through the crown of your head and then out the way it came. 2 more. Deep breath in. Try to find what you need for today's class, whether that's confidence. Exhale. And last one. And exhale. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and remove those blocks out to the side. We're gonna need them a little bit later. We're gonna plant that left foot on the floor and bring our right leg up. We're gonna put the right ankle on the left knee for a figure 4 position. Now for some people, this might be enough of a stretch on that right outer hip where that's all that you need. If you need a little more, you can always use your hand, press that knee away from you. Be sure to engage this foot by flexing it back. And if you even need a little bit more of a stretch, you can always bring your feet a little bit closer to your face. All right, now set the leg down and we're gonna bring this right leg up and over for a half happy baby. If you can grab the pinky toe side of your foot, great. If not, just always grab somewhere comfortable, whether that's your ankle or a little bit lower on your calf. We're really just trying to bring the energy of that leg down closer toward the floor. Really good hip opener here on that right side. Make sure that those feet are back towards the shin, drawing energy down through the ground and keeping your pelvis rooted to the floor. All right, and let go. We're gonna switch. So bring the left leg up for a figure 4 position. Remember, finding whatever modification is best for you. If this is it, you wanna add a little pressure or even bring your feet in a little bit closer. All right, and release. Bring the left foot up for half happy baby, finding whichever spot is best for you to grab that leg. Try to keep that pelvis rooted down toward the ground. We don't want it coming up off the floor, keeping that foot flexed back. Now let's bring the other foot up for a whole happy baby. Really try to get both sides in here for a good inner hip stretch. Now you can stay static, or if you feel like you'd like something a little more fun, feel free to roll it around in a little bit of a dynamic movement, whether that's just side to side, up and back a little bit, whatever you're doing, just making sure to keep a long spine. And maybe if you're just motionless or in stillness, keep that tailbone on the floor. All right, go ahead and release. Now we're gonna find our way up into a seated position. And we're gonna do a couple of windshield wipers, so bring your feet about mat's distance apart and maybe move your blocks out of the way just a little bit so your knees don't hit them. And we're gonna roll from side to side here. Opening up through the hips, try to keep your feet facing toward the front of the mat. And you're welcome to either keep your hands back to keep your body sort of upright, or take your hands off the floor and move with it. Either way, finding back to stillness, we're gonna find a butterfly position, so keeping your feet together, hands down towards your feet like you're opening a book, so try to peel those feet apart. If this is too big of a hip stretch, or maybe your knees are all the way up here towards your arms, you can once again get those blocks, put them under your legs to try to find as much support as you need, whether that's here or whether that's out to the side just a little bit further, rest those legs on those blocks. Now you're welcome if you would like to add a forward fold, if you are looking for a little bit more intensity in this stretch. Either way, whatever you're doing, making sure that your feet are firmly together and you're feeling supported. Nice tall spine. Take a deep breath in and release. Okay, sitting up, we're gonna move these blocks out of our way. We'll come back to them later. I'm gonna leave my right leg on the floor and I'm gonna grab my left foot. Kind of like I was in Happy Baby, you're gonna wanna grab the pinky toe side of your foot. We're gonna do something called archer's pose. So bring that foot up as much as you can, and we're gonna try to straighten out that leg. These hamstrings might be a little bit cold here, so don't feel like you have to push it, but all we're gonna do is just draw our foot back like we're drawing a bow, and then we're releasing the arrow. For a nice hip opener, a little bit of a hamstring stretch here. Now release, and let's do it on the other side. Bringing the right foot up, grabbing on the pinky toe side of the foot, or if you need, just grab your ankle. Opening up through the hips, nice tall spine. A little bit of a hamstring stretch here as well. And release. Bringing the legs out wide, we're going to be into a seated forward fold. So make sure that your feet are pointed back towards your shins. You're going to have a nice tall spine as we lean forward here. Another thing I like to make sure that my form is good is I like to keep my hands up overhead, pinkies toward the front of the room, and start to lean forward. And once I can't go anymore, because I have a nice tall flat spine and I've kind of met my max, I just drop my hands here. Nice inner hip stretch as well as another hamstring stretch, keeping those toes back toward the room. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, try to fold a little bit further. Make sure those sitting bones are grounded toward the floor. They're not trying to come up. Last one. All right, bring those feet back to the mat. Now what we're gonna do is put our left hand behind us and we're gonna swing this left foot to the back of the mat. So we're in a standing forward fold. Really make sure that your feet are parallel with the ends of the mat. You're pushing through all four corners of your feet and that you have your hips stacked over your heels. You're gonna feel like a lot of weight is in the toes of your feet. And that's quite all right. You got your hands here for support. You're always welcome to grab those blocks like we had mentioned before if you need to bring the floor a little bit closer to you in this big stretch. Go ahead and release your blocks. We're gonna move our hands toward the top of the mat and bring that right foot back to meet the left for our first plank pose, and then push back into downward facing dog. You're more than welcome to walk your dog out here. Make sure those calves are nice and stretched, hamstrings are feeling good. Now go ahead and look up towards your hands, step up towards your hands. Fingertips to shins, nice long flat back, no wrinkles in the back of your neck, and forward fold. Inhale, rise, hands up overhead, and exhale, mountain. So getting right into our sun A's, we'll inhale as hands up overhead, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway rise, fingertips to shins, and exhale, release. Plant the hands, step back, and lower all the way down to the floor. So instead of our usual cobra, we're gonna do frog. You're gonna bring that left leg out, should be at a 90-degree angle. Your knee should be in line with your hip. You're welcome to stay in just this pose, or if you wanna make it a little bit more difficult, you can grab a block, place it underneath your knee, and really sink into it as a good hip opener here. Make sure to keep that foot flexed. We wanna protect that kneecap so we're not doing any damage on the knee. Breathe. Nice deep inhale and exhale. All right, let's move on to the other side. Release that block if you had one, and bring the right leg out to the side. Remember to keep it at a nice 90-degree angle so our knee should be in line with our hip, keeping that foot flexed. You can either stay here or option to advance that stretch just a little bit and put the knee up on a block. Take a deep inhale. And try to relax into the pose and deepen the stretch. Maybe one more inhale. All right, good job. And let's release. Put that block back over at the side. Bring our feet back to meet each other and hands toward the ribs. We're gonna push up towards plank and back into downward facing dog. Look up towards our hands. Step up towards our hands. Inhale, rise halfway, fingertips to shins. And exhale, release. Inhale, rise, hands up overhead. And exhale, back to mountain. So getting right into our sun bees, we're gonna inhale the hands up overhead and sit back into chair. Now, if you're looking to make this chair a little bit more difficult, maybe you'll rise, cross the right foot over, kind of like that figure four we did on the ground, and sit back for a nice funky chair. Making sure that you're keeping those feet flexed. We're hinging at the hips in chair. Try to remember to engage those abs, so bringing those hips up into the ribs. And if your hands are up overhead, relax those shoulders down the back. Take a deep inhale, stand and release, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, fingertips to shins, and exhale, plant the hands, step back, and we're gonna go into downward facing dog today. Keeping those 10 fingers and 10 toes facing toward the front of the room. We're gonna inhale that right foot up, and then swing it on through to meet the hands. Spin the back heel down, and rise up into our first warrior two of today's class. For warrior two, you want to make sure that knee is tracking through the center of the front foot. You have that back foot at a nice 45-ish degree angle, keeping those hips tucked into your ribs, and shoulder blades are down the back. All right, here we're gonna do a little bit of dynamic movement. So on our exhale, we're gonna land in warrior two, and on our inhale, we're gonna rise up, and then exhale. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, sink a little further. Give me one more, hands up. Exhale your deepest warrior two yet. Make sure not to get that knee over the front toes. And then cartwheel the hands back down, and we're gonna spin toward the center of our mat. We're gonna rise up into goddess, so toes are gonna be out, heels are in. Similar concept here. So we are gonna meet in goddess on an exhale and rise up, inhale. And then exhale, sit even lower into your goddess. Inhale up, and exhale, really sit back, hinging at the hips. Last one. Sit back, we're gonna hold, engage those abs, tuck those hips in. Release that goddess, bring those hands down to the floor, back to the front of the mat. Right foot is gonna meet the left. Downward facing dog. Bring that left foot up, time for the other side. Bring it on through, bring the back heel down before rising up into warrior two. Same things here, making sure that left knee is tracking through the middle of the left foot. That back heel is further back than the toes. And make sure those 5 toes are facing forward. And engage those abs, bringing those hips up toward the ribs. On our exhale, we're gonna meet here. On our inhale, we're gonna bring the hands up, and then exhale, sink lower into your warrior two. Inhale up, and exhale, sink even lower. Make sure that knee does not cross over the toes. Last one. And sink into that warrior two, hold it for just a second. Cartwheel the hands down, meet toward the middle of the mat. Heels in, toes out, rising up for goddess again. Now find your pose here, hinging at the hips. Inhale, hands up, and exhale, sit back. Inhale, up. Exhale, sit even further down into that goddess. Inhale, up. Last one. Find your pose and hold it for just a second. Very good, and release. Hands toward the front of the mat. Step back into downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale And let it go. Inhale, look up towards your hands. Exhale, step up toward those hands. Inhale, halfway rise, fingertips to shins, long spine. And release, forward fold. Inhale, rise, hands up overhead. And exhale, mountain. Time for our last sun bee. So hands up overhead and sit back into that chair. We're gonna bring the left leg up this time. Cross it over the right knee, sit back into that figure 4 position like we had earlier. This is called funky chair. Making sure to keep those feet flexed, keeping those hips in. Gonna inhale, release, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway rise, fingertips to shins. Exhale, plant the hands, step back into plank, downward facing dog. From here, we're gonna do something called froggy squats. What I'm gonna do is move my feet so that my heels are in just a little bit and my toes are facing out. And what I'm gonna do is keep my hands in the same spot, if maybe just a little bit closer. And we're gonna do a little bit of squats here. So the knees are gonna come out wide, and every time you sit back, you're really getting a nice inner hip stretch. So give me a couple more. Those heels are allowed to come up off the ground. Last one. Back into plank. Now we're gonna walk the hands back toward our feet. I'm gonna bring my feet a little bit further apart, so about mat distance apart, but those heels are still in, toes out. We're gonna sit back into a yogi squat. Now here, make sure we're keeping a nice tall spine. We don't want to be slouching, so bring those shoulder blades back. And if you do keep your hands in prayer pose, make sure that there's equal pressure between your elbow and your knee and your elbow. Take a nice inhale and exhale. It's okay if your feet or your heels don't necessarily touch the ground, because one day you're gonna get there. All right, when we're done, we're gonna plant the hands, lift the buns, put those feet parallel to the mat, and we're gonna walk straight back out into our downward facing dog. Inhale, bring the right leg up. Step it on through. Keep that back heel lifted, and we're gonna rise up into crescent pose. So making sure that front knee is tracking through the middle of that front foot. So 5 toes are facing forward, our hips are facing forward. Really try to bring those hips up into the ribs and engage the core. After holding this pose for just a few breaths, we're gonna bring the hands back down to the floor, back into our 3-legged dog, so bring that right leg up. This time we're gonna bring it on through for pigeon. So setting that right leg down with whatever is comfortable for you, whether it's a little bit more parallel to the mat, or maybe your leg's at a bigger angle. I'm gonna scoot that left leg back a little bit further. Feel a really big psoas stretch here on the left side. Now, if this is good enough for you, you're more than welcome to just stay on your hands, a nice up position. If you need, take one of those blocks, place it under that right hip, give you a little bit of support, or you're always welcome to sink down and really relax into this pose. This is a little bit of a cool down for us as our class is coming towards an end. So we're gonna sit here for just 3 deep breaths. Take a deep inhale and let it go. Make sure to keep those hips nice and level. We don't want them sagging one way or the other. And last breath here. Very good. If you were using a block, be sure to get it out of the way before rising up onto your hands and bringing that right leg back to meet the left. Left foot's gonna fly. Bring it on through for crescent. So we're gonna bring that right heel up. Lots of energy through both heels here. Left knee's tracking through the center of that foot, hips tucked into those ribs, shoulder blades down the back. Now hold this for just a few breaths. Very good. All right, bring the heels back, or hands back down. Bring the left foot back for your three-legged dog. And then bring it on through for your last pigeon, last pose of the class. I'm gonna scoot that right foot back. Once again, if you need a block, stick it under those sitting bones for just a little bit of support. Welcome to stay on your hands or relax down onto the floor. This stretch is great for a really big psoas stretch. This muscle seems to get really tight on people who spend a lot of their day sitting. So if you ever need just one pose from this class to really try to work on those hips and hip flexors, definitely pick this one. All right, plant the hands, we'll rise. Find a nice seated position. Thank you for taking today's hip opener class. If you like today's class, hit that subscribe button. And I hope you continue to thrive with your yoga practice.